show.
What?
That's right. A lively house we got in here. I love it. Folks, I'm Dave Holmes. Hey, thank you.
And I'm Candace Haley. You know, Dave and I go way back about 12 years ago.
True story. We really do.
He hosted Sewa Karaoke.
That's right.
And I think we all know I was a contestant on Sewa Karaoke.
Like 100 times?
Like a million times. I was always there.
Yeah, you were
That's
always
like my home away from home.
Yeah. I mean, you got a lovely voice.
Oh, well, I don't think that was really it.
You are fit as a fiddle. No, I mean, and you would tumble and sing.
And stroke.
And take off articles of clothing, but like just top layers.
I never got naked, y'all. It was just like to a bathing suit top or something.
Sure. It was fun. Listen, you knew your brand. Let's say that.
My brand was a little different back then.
For that time in your life. I'm not saying anyway. But yeah, it's lovely to see you again.
It's so nice to see you again too.
Thank you. I remember seeing you and saying, that girl's going places. And look, here we are. Seriously.
Now we're back together
This is places.
again. It's amazing.
This is places.
I'm so excited that you're here this week. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Me too.
And we're going to have a great week.
Yes, we are. You know that's right.
All right, let's run down the top things on the web.
Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't we go around the net? ATN.
Yeah, look at Dan.
Candace. Whoa! This is the most powerful I've ever felt in my life. I love it.
They're all paid to clap for us.
I don't care. I'll take it. Now, Candace, I understand that you found something musical.
I did indeed.
Yeah?
I know you've been dying to hear the band Collective Soul play their one-hit wonder song, Shine, again.
You were misinformed.
I was?
That is not true.
Really?
That is not true at all.
Regardless, this version is amazing.
Okay. Collective Soul's Google alert has been blowing up, and they're like, oh, this is great. Oh, it's a cat. In case you're ever wondering whatever happened to Collective Soul, their lead singer turned into a cat.
I love it. So smart
Smart
of a
move. Shapeshifter's super hot.
So hot right now.
Yeah, True Blood, that's the way to be.
Yeah, Vampire Diaries. Yeah.
Well done.
Love it all.
Well done.
Please remember to stay and neuter Collective Soul.
That's correct. Or Sarah McLachlan is going to do a very sad commercial if you don't.
Oh, of course.
I cannot take another one.
I can't either. I cry every time I see those.
Oh,
and I can't turn away from it.
That makes me want to just like pick up my TV and just put it face down.
It does.
You know what I mean? And just leave it there for a little while.
It does.
Just until she goes away.
You know, that reminds me of this time, long time ago, long time ago, even before Sewa Karaoke.
Oh, boy. There was a time before Sewa?
There was a time.
Weird.
There was this horrible woman, Debbie.
Uh-oh.
And I broke into her car, and I stole her Collective Soul CD.
Oh, my God.
Because she was so horrible, not because I wanted the CD, but I just didn't want her to have it if she wanted it. So I stole it, and I broke it up.
Wow. I don't even know where to begin with the questions about that. I can't picture you breaking into a car.
It was unlocked.
Oh, okay.
But I got in there. She deserved it, okay?
Okay. It's
Let's
still super wrong and illegal, right?
Am I going to go to jail now?
Maybe. I think the statute of limitations has run out.
Okay.
Oh, man. Let's move on.
Yeah. Okay.
Because honestly, I don't want to get you in any more trouble than you're already in.
It's all right.
All right.
Up next, vegan food. It's usually really boring. Yeah. Until now.
Will leave you feeling
Prison really changed Martha Stewart. Can we just say that?
Yes.
Good Lord. That guy, let me just tell you, I know this for a fact, throws the worst dinner parties.
Oh, because of the music?
No, because of the tofu. It's vegan food. That's awful.
Yeah.
That's awful.
I don't understand. I mean, I can't even imagine being a vegetarian,
No.
but being a vegan, and
No.
my friend's a vegan, and she eats, like, vegan cheese
stop
and
it.
all
Stop
this weird stuff that
Ugh.
I could never, like, I need real cheese. I need beef. I need meat. I need chicken. I need all of that.
Yeah. I have some vegan friends. I have a vegan cook friend who throws parties a lot, and we all go, and then we all go to In-N-Out. Like, immediately afterwards, it's like, oh, it's really amazing. This is really good seitan, or whatever, but it's like, the best seitan is still, like, pressed together newspapers. You know what I mean? It's still awful. I went to In-N-Out for a 3x3 last night.
Oh,
Can I just say?
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, that's how not a vegan I am.
Although
I deserve a round of applause for that. Thank you.
Yeah, round of applause. Although that meal did actually look really good.
It really did. I would eat that.
I like tofu.
I would eat the hell out of it.
Fried is better.
There you go. They're fried and delivered by a demon is my way
It's
to
the
have
best
that.
way to eat tofu.
Absolutely.
All right,
Yum-town.
this last clip comes from this morning's episode of Fox and Friends. Host Gretchen Carlson thought she was interviewing a disenfranchised college graduate who was suffering because of the bad economy, but what she got was some epic trolling.
Joining me now is a recent college grad, Max Rice. He voted for President Obama.
So.
Now he's unemployed and just moved out of his parents' home. Good morning to you, Max.
Well, hello, Miss USA. It's an honor.
Why now are you supporting Mitt Romney?
Why am I supporting Mitt Romney? It's actually a funny story. I lost a basketball game to a friend of mine, Alex Dern, who's a huge supporter of this show.
And is it true that you had to go back and live with your parents after you graduated from college?
Oh, yeah, after I went to college for a bit, I had to go back and live with my parents this summer. I'm back on my own. Independent, I'm on national TV. I feel like I'm doing good.
Yeah, I'm not sure that you're ready for prime time yet with this interview.
I'm not ready for prime time? Wait, I've been...
I was just looking on my phone. There's a producer job open at Fox and Friends. I just got that little text.
Fun fact, that kid was straight trolling. He wasn't even old enough to vote for Obama last time.
That's right. He's a college junior. and he said that he wanted to go on that show to prove that Fox is a little bit of a sham news organization. Mission accomplished, young man. Yeah, you should get college credit for that.
Like, but he wasn't even saying anything.
No, he really wasn't.
He's really funny.
But neither are they ever.
And
All right, I'm soapboxing a little bit here. But what he was doing to them is what that show does to America. So,
what
how do you like it?
What I thought was funny is that she's saying you're not ready for prime time. But what time does that show come on?
Like 4 in the morning. Like 4 in the morning. Oh, Lordy.
Great. And that concludes our Around the Netting for the day.
That's right.
Still ahead. Enjoy those big gulps while you can because they are about to be banned.
All the soda news that the government will allow you to consume is coming up right after this. Welcome back. The Big Apple is keeping Dr. Pepper away because the New York City Board of Health has voted to ban restaurant sales of big sugary drinks. Oh. Yeah. The measure prohibits city restaurants, delis, sports facilities, and street vendors from selling any drink larger than 16 ounces. If you speak Starbucks, that is a grande. Oh. Simply a grande. That is Mayor Michael Bloomberg's attempt to curb escalating obesity, but opponents are gearing up for a fight. Beverage makers say it violates the rights of their customers to annihilate their thirst. And the beverage industry is going to have some help from movie theater owners who make 25% of their income from concession stands. So you can bet if they lose, they're going to raise the cost of putting fat asses in their seats. Now, I do not want to be insensitive here, but the people that have opposed this measure have a couple things in common. They don't understand math or workarounds. Because here's the deal. If you want 32 ounces of sugary goodness, you simply purchase 2 16-ounce cups, right? That's how you're going to find the real rebels in a future New York City. In the 60s, it was long hair. In the teens, 2 cups. Fight the power. Bloomberg has already curbed smoking and trans fats and even got restaurants to post calorie information. So now the only ways to die horribly in New York are to be shot repeatedly by the police. That's popular. To be eaten alive by bed bugs. And, of course, blowback from your questionable sexual decisions, which are easy to make in New York City. The lesson here, if you want to sit around and get fat, you're going to have to do that at home. Or you can hop on the PATH train over to dirty Jersey, where the smallest cup size is a big gulp. Real estate values are going to go through the roof in Jersey, just on this alone. Now, if you're like most Americans, you were up at midnight on Friday, feverishly typing in your credit card information so you could pre-order that new iPhone 5. And why wouldn't you? Obviously, it's a vast improvement. Can we agree? Over the iPhone S that you bought last year. Obviously, there is no comparison unless, of course, you look at pictures of them side by side and compare them. In which case, you will see that the iPhone is thinner and faster, and it does have a tad less body volume. Its screen is a little bit bigger, but there doesn't seem to be much else that's significantly different. Of course, we are hearing reports that they are up to twice as fast, but you would figure that any savvy consumer would have figured out that materially they're not that different and skip the upgrade until something better comes along. Luckily for Apple, the last savvy American consumer died in 1983. Shortly after deciding not to buy The World According to Garp on Laserdisc. As it turns out, this was Apple's most successful product launch ever. They sold 2 million iPhones in just 24 hours. Heavens to Betsy. And if that weren't enough, the company is projected to make $1 billion just on the Lightning adapters alone. Which answers the question, why is Apple changing the size of their adapters? Oh, I get it now. To make $1 billion. Oh, okay. Now it's all very clear. Naturally, iPhone lovers continue to make it rain on Apple's main stage, but other smartphone manufacturers, which apparently exist, I just found that out today, are trying to lure buyers with the promise of better features, customization, and a whole host of other things that nobody really cares about. Take, for example, I mean, let's be honest. Take, for example, Samsung's frankly desperate leak of the new Galaxy S4 just 3 days after the iPhone went on pre-sale. We actually have exclusive footage of the beans accidentally getting spilled by the Samsung CEO. Can we take a look at that?
Hey everybody, we have a phone too. It has 2 gigs of RAM and a removable battery. And if you want to update it, all you gotta do is just give it a little shake. Come on, buy it, why don't you? Please.
Pathetic. Pathetic. It's the worst episode of Toddlers and Tiaras I have ever seen in my life. And that's saying something. Samsung, if you are trying to recoup the $1 billion you lost to Apple in that lawsuit, next time why don't you just follow Apple's lead and change the size of your adapters? Instant billions. Now, even though Apple sold a crazy amount of iPhone 5s, a lot of people were disappointed with the device's new features, partially because, as we said, the improvements Apple made aren't that exciting, and also maybe because cell phones themselves seem to have hit the end of their evolutionary curve. An essay in The Atlantic says that the iPhone 5 is probably the end of the line for the touchscreen phone. A professor of interactive telecommunications at NYU said that Apple was, and this is the most professory thing that has ever been said ever, quote unquote, selling transformation and shipping incrementalism, which is, yeah. Let me translate that into dummy for myself. That means they're selling a phone that is going to revolutionize, and they're actually giving you a larger screen and some earbuds that might fit your ears a little bit better. And I don't think it's going to be that revolutionary, these earbuds, no matter how many ear pods that Johnny Ive has checked out in his V-neck laboratory. Does he have like closets and closets full of V-necks? Instead, The Atlantic said that the next truly revolutionary phone is probably going to be something with an entirely different interface. Maybe something like tiny implantable data storage units, Minority Report style interfaces. Ooh. Or even these stupid-looking Google glasses. Really? Good Lord. We're already on our way there, evidently. Fashion models recently wore Google glasses with their runway outfits, and yet still looked perfect. How is that possible? Also, the world's first cyborg was able to use his eye camera to snap photos of thugs who tried to beat him up in a French McDonald's. I kind of want to beat that guy up. Even in a French McDonald's, which is a very happy place. They sell beer. Now, look, everybody who writes an article predicting the future ends up looking kind of dumb within a few years. Just ask the people who thought we'd all be wearing car shoes in the year 2000. I was alive then. We were not. So maybe for the phone of the future, we should look back to a time when phones actually worked as phones. Like, right there. Like the Zach Morris special. Honestly, if Apple can get those earbuds, though, to actually stay in my ears while I'm running, I might actually have to give them some credit. Now, still ahead, we are going to speak with a real phone expert on what the future of phones is really going to look like, so don't go anywhere. To Attack of the Show. Before the break, we were trying to figure out what future smartphones might look like, but here's a guy who might actually know. Joining us now, senior editor for CNET, Scott Stein. Hello, Scott Stein. Woo! All right. So what do you think the state of mobile phones is going to be in a decade, Scott? I mean, I know that's a broad question.
I'm going to stop short. I'm going to stop short of saying that we're going to implant them in our arms or have anything microscopic.
Right.
I feel like it'll be tucked in your pants. I think the design is going to look a lot the same because we use these phones as a necessary lifeline. I mean, if you have an emergency, if you need to do business, touchscreens work really well. It's hard to get that far again and come up with a new solution.
Yeah.
But I think you look at wireless technology, the idea that you could wear those crazy Google goggles or use it as a wireless wallet or be able to throw your image onto a TV or maybe wear little funky gloves and go Minority Report. But that can all be done with accessories, and you can keep that really high-powered phone in your pocket where it's tucked away. I think that's where the future lies for the next 10 years with phone tech.
Right. And it seems like leading up to, at the start of the iPhone, it was a huge leap forward, and since then it's been a little bit of a plateau, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, and I think it's keeping to a certain design. It's kind of like the iPod before, and you don't want to mess with something that's working. And at the same time, I think a lot of the changes that are going to come with phones are going to be sort of invisible. I mean, people talk about near-field communication now. It's nothing that you can see, but the idea that you can use a phone as a mobile wallet, I mean, all of that stuff is kind of behind the scenes. The same thing with cloud technology. And so it's nothing that you're going to see design-wise, and I think that's why you'll have almost an invisible revolution in terms of what's going on under the hood.
Right. You know, it's funny that we keep talking about them as phones, like we reflexively call them phones. If anybody calls to talk to me, I'm like, what kind of monster is doing that to me right now? It's the last thing I want to do on this thing. You can text me or whatever. It seems like the actual phone part of the phone is becoming less and less of the user experience.
Yeah, I think it's kind of going to become a little bit of your bodyguard, your surrogate, your firewall, your wallet. You know, you just walk around and you're already using it for our computer, for transactions. I think you're going to get to the point where anywhere you go, in a scary way and in a useful way, it's going to interact with whatever's around you. And I think you'll do that via if you want to wear a camera, if you don't want to wear a camera, if you want to use voice and be annoying or not.
Right.
You know, I think that those options will be open to you.
Right. You know, people talk about Siri almost with a little bit of regret, as though it didn't. The Siri itself did not quite work out the way that people wanted it to. Is it that people just don't want to guide things with their voice? Like, I think
some people.
Is voice integration something that people are interested in at all?
I think some people do and some people don't, and that's kind of the problem with this, is you're trying on all these different ideas. A lot of people don't want to use voice in the same way that a lot of people don't want to use little Bluetooth headsets and be annoying in public. Other people think it's great if they're driving in a car. I think having a variety of options, the idea that everything you do on your phone will only be done via voice or everything will only be done with crazy hand gestures, I think that's the mistake. I think most of the time you're going to default to, you know, if you're an emergency, if you need to do something right now, you need to handle business because it's a mission critical phone, and unless I'm really misjudging the future, I think you'll pull out your phone and take care of it.
Yeah.
And I think other times you'll use other tech as you need to.
Right. Now, as our dependence on phones has grown, privacy and security issues have not quite kept up to pace. Do you see, like, do you think we're in for a revolutionization in privacy and security issues? Like, something's going to have to happen because I feel like my entire life is about to get hacked. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, the ways in which people get hacked in the cloud, the ways people's accounts are being hacked, too many passwords. I'd like to see a revolution in sort of biometric security. You know, right now you can remote wipe your phone when it gets stolen. But at some point, will you have some sort of personal area network that the moment that thing gets taken away from you and carried as much as 15 feet, you can press a little self-destruct button and that thing wipes and then you can restore it from the cloud later. Of course, that could be hacked too. But I think that that idea will become more and more popular because you are going to keep your whole life on this, and possibly even important documentation that governments could use.
Right. Something similar already happens to me when my phone is more than 15 feet away from me. I self-destruct. Like, I fall to pieces if I can't have my phone right next to me. It's insane. Do you think that, the phone of the future is going to be integrated more into the workplace and sort of replace the work PC?
Yeah, I think it will. Already you have a bring your own device culture, you know, where they will enslave your iPhone or other device, and suddenly you have to use it on your corporate network, and they save money in ordering you a phone. And a lot of workplaces will also use something like a little USB key so that it has all of your data and you log in virtually wherever you go. So if you could have a little device in your pocket that's, you know, much more powerful than our computer now, and you can walk around and basically log in wherever you are and throw everything onto a monitor wirelessly, which really isn't that far a dream. I mean, we already have that with AirPlay and other wireless tech. Then, you know, there you go. And you can sit down and suddenly you're on your computer, which is really your phone. So I think that will happen because it saves companies money.
Right. All right, the big question, Scott Stein. Are you going to stand in line? Are you getting it? Are you getting the 5?
We'll have to see. I'm probably going to go check out the line. I'll check out the line, and I like it. I like the improvements. Yeah.
You know, here's an insider tip. I've done this 3 times now. Go the next day to the Apple store. It's the same phone, and you just can walk up to the counter and say, I would like an iPhone, and they will give you one. I don't know why people are still standing in line. But thank you very much, Scott Stein from CNET, for your expertise. And right now, Matt Farah enjoys the company of a Shelby Mustang.
Welcome to 1042 Princeton Avenue, Venice, California. Now it's just a building, but 50 years ago, this was the site of the original Shelby factory, where the legend was born, so to speak. Cobras, GT40s, and Daytona Coupes were built here. They went to race in Europe, beat Ferrari, and the legend of Shelby began. Now, 50 years later, we find ourselves with this, the 2013 Shelby GT500. And in the grand American tradition, we are going to take it on a road trip to Vegas. We're going to go to the place where they build Shelbys today, a much larger, more modern facility. Let's hit the road. At first, this seems like a Mustang with a bigger engine and nothing more. But there's really much more to it. The front end has been revised for better aerodynamics at speed. The suspension is now electronically adjustable. There's radiators everywhere to keep things cool even out in the desert, and it's been given unique gear ratios which allow it to hit 60 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds in first gear. Achieve a top speed of 202 miles an hour under the right conditions. Under the hood lies the world's most powerful production V8 engine, and the whole shebang starts at under 60 grand. There's 60. There's 80, there's 90, there's 100, 110, 120, 130, there's 140, holy it's just like that. The power band in this car is just endless. I mean, it pulls every gear, every RPM, every time. I mean, a fan of speed, a fan of driving fast, pissing people off and making noise, would love this car. The one thing that makes me really nervous about this car are the brakes. Yes, they are big 6-piston Brembos, but the truth is the pads and fluid are terrible and they fade really, really quickly. The other thing is, for all the prowess this car has on the track, when you wind it out, you're going to get 3 miles per gallon. Now, at a 15-gallon tank, All you have to do is some simple math to realize that this car doesn't carry enough fuel in it to make it through a standard 30-minute track session on one tank of gas. To go from last year's Shelby to this year's Shelby, you'd think that they just put in a bigger motor, but there's actually quite a lot of thought and technology that goes into it. That drive shaft, by the way, is a single-piece carbon fiber unit. I mean, a Mustang with a carbon fiber drive shaft. It's hard to believe, but when you're putting that much power to the ground, the tires coming off the wheels themselves is actually a concern. So they've got a special wheel and tire setup, so when you put that 631 pound-feet of torque to the ground, the wheels don't spin themselves straight off the tires. After having my fun in Death Valley, I headed off to Vegas to meet up with Vice President of Operations at Shelby, Gary Patterson. Why is the Shelby brand such an iconic American brand?
If you're Carroll Shelby, you're a Texan, okay? So that's kind of a big Americano, bigger than life kind of thing. And you go out and you beat the guys in Europe, won the 24 Hours of Le Mans as a driver. Then that same guy develops a health problem, can't drive anymore, so he starts building cars. And he takes a English body, puts a Ford V8 in that thing, and goes out and kicks Ferrari's butt. That's kind of a high water mark. Then he goes out and he partners with Ford Motor Company, and they did the GT40s and the Mark IVs, and they beat Ferrari again.
Do you think Shelby is going to try and do some things to focus on lighter weight?
You know, people kind of like some room, so with room you get a bigger car. They like creature comforts now. They want a nice stereo sound system, they want their power windows, they want all this stuff. They want their cake and eat it too, and you know what? With the new Super Snake, you can have your cake and eat it too.
Is there such a thing as too much horsepower?
Well, when you get to the point where you're wearing a pressure suit and you black out from the acceleration, you're probably there. But until then, I think you've still got to keep more horsepower.
Only Mustang makes it happen. These aren't just words, it's a fact.
I left the Shelby motherland and pulled into Spring Mountain just outside Pahrump as soon as the sun began to get low on the horizon. It was time to find out if all this horsepower was a good thing or a bad thing when it came to controlling the Shelby in a drift. When you have a 600 horsepower car, drifting it is going to be high on your priority list. With this much power, my concern is that there maybe is so much power that I can't control it. So we come to Spring Mountain Skid Pad to find out if I can. Very tricky. It doesn't want to hang drifts. I spun out once, twice, 3 times and more. It's really hard to drift this, man. I also didn't realize quite how fast you need to be going in order to keep the momentum up with that much power. Oh. F***ing difficult. Finally, with a little bit of practice and a lot of patience and swearing, I nailed it. It can be done. It just requires some practice. Big, smoky drifting is what this car is all about. We end our journey here on the Las Vegas Strip, concluding the most American of road trips in the most American of proper muscle machines. On its 50th anniversary, Shelby has turned the sports car world on its ears with the most powerful factory Mustang ever.
Thanks, Matt. Right now, it's time to start the feed.
All the news you need to know. Feed.
It's Monday, September 17th, and here are your top stories. Today, Shazam announced its app can now tag television shows. This is so cool. It can ID everything from what music is playing to episode and cast details. It also shows you stuff like celebrity tweets, trivia, and you get instant access to info at IMDb or the show's official site. It functions with almost all programs on more than 160 channels in the U.S., but right now, it only works for live and DVR'd shows that are a week old or less. No word on if Shazam will include shows on VOD spots like Netflix and Hulu+, but my fingers are crossed. And other tech giants are making headlines today, too. Here's the news. Today, Amazon is developing its own mapping service. Seems it's following Apple's lead and is moving away from Google Maps. Details are scarce, but word is the app will be used on Kindle Fire tablets and will have the same basic functions as Google Maps. Next, Google is making some noise of its own with news that its web browser Chrome will include a do not track privacy setting by the year's end. Apparently, it'll be as simple as opting yes or no in your preferences. And you know what? It's about time. Google Chrome is the last major browser to include the feature. And lastly, you might have heard Zuck's sigh of relief this morning because it seems the Winklevoss twins have moved on with news that they're backing another social network. Apparently, the twins have put $1 million into SumZero, which is a highbrow social network for hedge fund, mutual fund, and private equity professionals. It's basically a Facebook for the 1%. Yeah. And here's what's going on in the entertainment world. First, photos of RoboCop's new suit have hit the internet over the weekend. And unfortunately, the pics left most fans feeling a little, bored. As you can see, it's all black and looks a lot like the N7 armor featured in Mass Effect. But the movie does have an awesome director and a cast featuring names like Gary Oldman and Samuel L. Jackson. So I'm going to withhold my judgments until I see a trailer. Next, the president of Hasbro has announced that the fourth Transformers film will feature an all-new cast of robot characters. Oh, apparently the franchise's toy sales have been slow. The idea is a new robot cast and collectibles will boost them. That said, I can't imagine they'd make a Transformers movie without Optimus Prime, but we'll find out before it releases this summer in 2014. In the summer of 2014. And finally, Borderlands 2 comes out tomorrow. And if you want to check out all the game has to offer, be sure to tune in to Attack of the Show on Thursday. Jessica Chobot and Totally Rad Show's Alec Albrecht will tell us what they think of the game. Yes. I'm Sarah Underwood. You've just been fed. When we come back, Silas Ware Mitchell from Grimm will be here live. Don't go anywhere.
Finding the right music for the right mood can be difficult, but don't worry, Songza will do all the work for you. Songza is an app that will act as your music concierge. It has a wide variety of playlists for virtually any mood or situation. Need a Monday morning workout playlist? Or maybe some tunes while you pregame with your friends? This app has got you covered. Songza also has a ton of cool playlists that are curated by music experts. You'll even find crowd-pleasing playlists like Ultimate Party Sing-Alongs and iTunes Top Hits. If there's a genre you like, search for it to narrow down the hundreds of curated playlists. The best part is there's no audio advertisements and no limits to your monthly listening. Now you'll always have the perfect song playing with Songza. Available for free on the iTunes and Google Play App Store.
Why we got to be so destructive? Now, werewolves do not just howl and bite people. There's also intrigue and mystery involved. Let's take a look at Grimm.
Is there a chance that a Blutbad would be leading a church full of Seelengüter?
Are you serious? A Blutbad? That's like a recipe for lunch. Unless, of course, he's reformed, like me.
Well, that's what he claims.
Huh.
But I was thinking maybe it takes one to know one.
What are we talking like an
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Silas Ware Mitchell.
Well, nice to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Very good to meet you. The Big Bad Wolf.
The Blutbad.
The Blutbad.
Vulgarized into the Big Bad Wolf. But yes, the idea being that there's this species that they had to call the Big Bad Wolf because if they actually called it a Blutbad, they'd look crazy, those Grimm brothers.
So it seems like all of the monsters are sort of German themed.
Yes.
It's like you need like a Grimm to English dictionary
a glossary
to get through.
of sorts. Yeah. Well, it's actually the foundation of it is kind of German because obviously Jakob and Wilhelm.
Sure.
Grimm.
Yeah. You're on a first-name basis?
Yeah,
after doing the show?
exactly. I've been reading a lot of them. I feel like I'm channeling them sometimes.
Right.
But the writers are also using fairy tales and mythology from other cultures as well. There was a Japanese episode where the creature was a spider, and the name was still a spinatod, which sounds kind of Germanic, but the myth was Japanese. And there's a French in there too. And I think they're just, as the story goes on, they're going to broaden it so that they're using more like global cultures and stuff.
Sure, sure. Got a whole world to explore.
And a whole world of people doing messed up things, for messed up reasons, and they're going to start getting into what's behind all this global madness.
Right.
It might be surprising.
What I want to know, honestly, though, is do you have a like a dialect coach for all of this stuff?
Do we have a dialect coach?
Oh, it sounds like maybe you do.
Hi, this is Mary Mack, your dialect coach. She is wonderful.
She talk like that?
She really does. She's like a voiceover artist supremo. So when you get the recordings, it's like you're listening to someone doing their work. and it's
never off the clock, a dialect coach.
My God, she loves what she does, and thank God for her. But there's a lot of stuff that they could boil it down. You know what I mean? They could really reduce it down to 1 minute instead of 10 or 12 or 14. Because what happens is they read. If I have one little German word at the bottom of a paragraph, they'll read the entire paragraph for that one word, and they'll do it fast. They'll do it slow. They'll do it this way. They'll do it that. So it's like, God, just give me the word. Just, give me the word. Just lay it on me, man.
It's 2012. Our attention spans are dead.
I just don't need to hear my words read. That you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just give me the German word, not the whole speech.
Yeah. Would Mary Mack be interested in doing my outgoing voicemail message? Because I feel like I need that.
Yeah, Mary Mack or Carl. She's like a female Carl Castle. You know that show, like Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me? You win a prize. You get some famous newsman to do your outgoing message.
Yeah.
She would kick his ass.
Oh, wow. Them's fighting words.
I'm telling you,
Carl
man,
Castle.
She's serious.
Carl Castle, you going to take that? Don't you take that.
It's really great because she has a German speaker, a true German speaker doing a lot of the language.
Yeah.
And it really does help to get to have a good model. The key to doing any dialect is you have a good model, and he's really good.
Right. So you are the Blutbot now.
The Blutbot, yeah.
Blutbot now.
Jawohl.
Right. But your first role was kind of at the other end of the food chain.
That's right.
If I'm correct.
Yeah.
You were Hansel.
I was Hansel, although really the other end of the food chain would be the Little Red Riding Hood, whom I didn't play.
The grandmother, right? Yeah.
But it was weird. I was doing an interview with an Oregon newspaper, and I realized they were like, "What did you do when you were younger?" I was like, "Well, the first play I did was Hansel and Gretel." And I was like, wow, I didn't even didn't put it together until I said it out loud, which is sort of much of my life, I find.
So, was it in your youth, or was it like a Hansel and Gretel Ghost Hunters?
No, it was.
Play?
We did the story of Hansel and Gretel, and I was in 3rd grade. I wore little lederhosen and candy. It was ridiculous.
Right.
It was really cute.
Right. You in that, Mary Mack beating up Carl Castle. I have so many mental images in my head from this interview.
They're in your dream center.
You'll
so never get rid of them.
Super evocative. Now, a lot of the supernatural stuff is derived from folklore and legend. Did you grow up with something that you were terrified of? For me, honestly, Ozzy Osbourne. I was terrified of Ozzy Osbourne growing up.
Okay.
And he still kind of freaks me out a little bit.
The scariest thing I remember as a child, it's actually in the musical vein as well, there was a cover of a Pink Floyd album. And I don't remember what it was called, but it had a mask with human eyes and a human tongue sticking out of the mask.
Oh.
That really gave me the shivers. And I think Careful with That Axe, Eugene. Does anybody know that song? Okay. Careful with that axe, Eugene.
Yeah.
That's when they invented the scream, was for this song. My sister also used to freak me out, and she did it more than once. I would be, in the bathroom brushing my teeth, getting ready for bed. I would come back into the room, and she would have created what looked like a dead body lying under my bed. She would stuff pants with other clothes and put boots on the end of the pants and put them under my bed, so there was a corpse lying under my bed. She did it more than once.
You didn't stand a chance.
Not against that type of ammunition.
You were going to grow up to play the Big Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
Now, I understand you just, you presented a couple Emmys at the Creative Arts Emmys.
I did.
And you violated a personal superstition?
Well, it's a sort of
Lay it on me.
NHL superstition. You know, I'm a huge hockey fan, and, you know, the rule is you don't touch the Prince of Wales or trophy if you win the conference. You don't touch the Stanley Cup before you win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Uh-huh.
And I was standing up there, and when you're presenting the Emmy, you get the Emmy, you got to give the Emmy. I'm like, I don't want to touch that. I might want one of these one day of my own. I don't want to just give it away. I don't want to touch that thing. So anyway, I blew it.
You should have done oven mitts.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Should have done some latex gloves. But please, you get a dispensation if you're giving them out.
Perhaps, perhaps. I don't have a rule book. I'll ask. I'll ask Gary Bettman.
Okay. If there were a Stanley Cup award ceremony, you would certainly be able to like touch it if you want to give it to
Well, there
somebody,
won't be
right?
this year. The Kings won't be able to raise their banner because the owners locked them out. Bastards.
Oh, all right.
Bad scene, man.
True. Sports games, you guys. Right?
I love sports games.
Aren't they the best?
The best kind of
yeah.
games.
Yeah, that is. We've reached the bottom of my sports knowledge right there.
Wow.
Sports games, you guys.
That was like a demi-task.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Oh, very good. You have been working with a
I
dialect
just drink
coach.
too much coffee.
I like it. Now, one of your trademarks, and honestly, seeing you here and talking to you is very strange because you're a very friendly guy, and I remember you from Prison Break, and you terrified me as a grown-up. Yeah. And you're doing it a little bit right now. You have kind of a trademark unsettling stare, and we're getting it. I didn't even have to ask. So what's the secret? Oh, good Lord. You can stop. You can stop.
Deep reservoirs of pain and sorrow and anger.
Okay, all right.
No, man, it's just I got big eyes and a heavy brow. Simple physiognomy, people. Simple physiognomy.
It's like you're an Olympic gymnast, but for
But I have
unsettling
a Hershey bar crammed into my cranium.
Oh, come on. Stop it. Thank you so much for being here, Silas.
It was lovely to see you. Thanks a lot.
Take care of yourself. And now, over to Candace.
Thank you. Stay tuned. Today's epic fail is a huge pain in the ass. Stick around. Between difficult and hard. Skateboarding is difficult. Asphalt is hard. Oh boy. It's time for today's epic fail.
Amazing job on everybody's running. Put together. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Boy. Oh, heavens to Betsy. That is how you get road rash in your colon. Oh.
Fail that kid's landing gear.
Oh, I felt that. I felt that in my tailbone.
And his butthole.
Yeah, yeah.
That was bad. I
bad.
broke my tailbone once, and now I have a little tail, and it is just... I have a tail. My tailbone sticks out like this much now. It's true. It does.
You're aware that you're aware there are people in this room, right? Who can hear you? Who will want to see this?
Whatevs. Thanks to Silas Weir Mitchell. Now Sarah, Scott Stein.